Hello, I'm Paul Ferguson. With me is Richard Beaupre. Welcome once again to the Pool A World Ice Hockey Championships from Switzerland. Canada going up against the United States. The old rivalry goes on and on.
Well, it's the North American battle here, and a lot of these players have seen each other before, and a lot of them play together during the seasons.
Well, before we get down to the action, let's take a look at the action between the Soviets and the West Germans yesterday. That first goal coming in the first period, a tip from number 29, Fedorov, to make it 1-0.
Wow, there's so much strength on this Soviet team. They're moving the puck around. There's Merck's view of this one. Shot from the point, not much he can do with Fedorov's touch.
A lot of credit to the West German side. In the first period, they really did stay with the Soviets. They skated hard, and eventually their efforts paid off. They came up with a goal. Steiger, a power play effort at 12:51, still in the first period.
The West Germans had control of this puck in the Soviet zone. The puck laid out there on the rebound. Steiger stuck with it and put it behind the goaltender.
In the last 5 minutes of the period, the Soviets came back strong. Another power play effort here. Komatov finding himself right in front of the net. He one-times that right behind the goaltender to make it 2-1.
Well, enough cannot be said about the Soviet power play. They're very opportunistic on these chances, and they move the puck around. There's Komatov all by himself in the slot.
12 minutes into the second period, the Soviets struck again with Nemchinov getting the pass over from Semak. Another one-timer from the slot area makes it 3-1.
Well, they controlled the puck right off the face-off. Semak with a heads-up pass. It's a blast from Nemchinov into the far corner.
The West German side refused to lay down and die, and watch this goal by Trunchka, a really good solo effort as he puts it on the forehand side and hits the far side of the net to bring the score closer.
Gerhard Trunchka, a very stylish player with a great individual effort here. As he comes down the ice and puts it back to the forehand and beats Milnikov.
Once again, we see the Soviets in a power play situation. Komatov takes one swipe out, gets another swipe, and finally puts it in the net. That's his second goal of the game.
Well, it's off a rebound, and Komatov is so dangerous he can't have one chance, much less two. No mistake on the second one.
4-2 at the end of the second period. Only one goal in the third period. Semak right in front of the net, picks it up. No one there to stop him. That makes it 5-2.
Well, the West Germans were getting weary at this point, and the Russians just kept pouring the power on. They were moving the puck all over. Semak with no mistake on the rebound. There's Merck's view of this one. The shot is fake, then it's taken. Merck handles the initial shot, but Semak is right on the rebound.
So let's take a look now at the results from day two. Czechoslovakia over Finland 4-2. A close one with Sweden edging Norway 4-3. We've just seen the Soviets beat the West German side 5-2. Coming up, the big one, USA against Canada.
Well, the U.S. have got their hands full here. They've got a young team and a very experienced Canadian team to challenge.
Well, the table looks exactly like this after 2 days of play. The Soviets in first place along with the Czechs. The Swedes are there, the Canadians with 2 points, and the Americans, the Finns, the West Germans, and the Norwegians still looking for their first victories of the tournament. Lots of ice hockey to come. Players to watch out for in the game coming up. Dahlqvist, who scored the only goal for USA, 4 goals, 10 assists in the NHL season.
Kip Miller, the 1990 Hobie Baker Award, which is the top college player of the year. He was a star at Michigan State.
Otto, who plays for Calgary, he'll be a great asset to the American side. 10 goals, 20 assists during the season.
The Americans have both also brought Paul Reinheim over, who's a teammate of Joel Otto's with the Calgary Flames.
Well, the Canadians aren't sitting back with the team they started with at the beginning of the tournament. They've added several players. Tokket is still there, number 22. Keep your eye on this play. So unselfish as he feeds Yzerman. So Tokket with 37 goals and 59 assists during the past season, is still out there on right wing.
And he's blended well with Steve Yzerman, who can play hockey with anybody. A prolific goal scorer, 62 goals and 65 assists with the Detroit Red Wings this year in the NHL.
And the little big man who just joined the team, Fleury from Calgary, 31 goals, 35 assists. What a playmaker, what a goal scorer.
Joe Nieuwendyk, his teammate at Calgary, Cornell University star in the 87-88 Rookie of the Year in the NHL. He's one to watch.
Well, I'm going to go with the might of Canada. Who are you going to choose, Richard?
I'm going to take the Americans in an upset.
Join us after the break for the opening period. Welcome back to the Pool A World Ice Hockey Championships from Freiburg in Switzerland. Canada against the United States. The Canadians fresh from their 5-2 victory over West Germany. The USA struggled against Czechoslovakia and lost 7-1. So the Canadians looking for their second consecutive victory in the tournament.
Well, the U.S. have got Pye and Blue in the goal. Guy Gosselin's a good defenseman. Dahlquist, of course, an NHLer who played well in U.S.'s first game. Gregory Brown, a college standout. Jeffrey Norton of the New York Islanders is over here, as well as Jim Johnson from Pittsburgh.
Well, they got Thomas O'Regan, who played his hockey in Germany for the past couple of years. Ranheim is here. Reynolds, Galliani. They've got a lot of experience, but a lot of college players, too.
They've got a young team and a lot of International Hockey League players or collegiate stars out there. Joel Otto, of course, is over from the Calgary Flames. He's a good one to watch out there.
Well, it remains to be seen what they can do against the NHL side, all except for Green. Of course, he played in Italy. McLean and Regat, lots of NHL experience. McInnes is there from Calgary. Lidster, a good defenseman. Michel Petit has been strong. And, of course, there's always Paul Coffey.
Oh, Paul Coffey's a star with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he's great with the puck.
Joey Nieuwendyk is here from Calgary. It'll be his first game. Murray Craiven has played really well with Yzerman and Tokket. And Mark Recchi has been strong forechecking and backchecking.
Of course, that Yzerman, Tokket, Murray Craiven line is the one to watch out for. Doug Gilmour and Fleury are both over from the Calgary Flames as well.
So the Canadians looking very strong on paper. But what can they do against the youth and motivation of the Americans?
Well, they've got a young team. They've got it all to go for here. There's a little bit of a rivalry with these teams, of course. As we mentioned before, these players see each other all year.
Tim Taylor's Americans go up against Dave King's Canadians, and both coaches experienced at different levels.
Well, this is true, as Dave King has had a lot of the international experience, but Tim Taylor has as well, having been involved with the Olympics, and he's a Yale University coach.
So the team's getting set now. McLean will start for Canada between the pipes. John Blue will be in goal for the Americans. Blue, who hails from Huntington Beach in California, played a good part of the game against Czechoslovakia. Coach Tim Taylor split the goaltending between Pye and Blue.
Well, Coach Dave King was quoted earlier as saying that Calgary's misfortune was his fortune. The Americans have benefited as well, as they picked up a couple of Calgary Flames.
A word of confidence for Blue from Pye and McSwain and the rest of the boys. The Americans will be playing from right to left in the light jerseys, the Canadians in their familiar red strip. And we're just moments away from the opening face-off. Not a bad crowd here in Freiburg. This tournament has been well attended. Lots of Canadian and American support here. Good shot of Kurt McLean, the 23-year-old Vancouver and one-time New Jersey Devil goalie. The official, Vogelin, gets the opening face-off, and the Americans right away take it into their own zone. Johnson, James Johnson, headmans the puck, and the Canadians now with Tokket on the right wing. The familiar sight of Tokket wearing that number 22 with the hair coming out of the back of the helmet. That goes all the way back to Lidster. He's going to take his time with it. Tokket flips it over to the far side. Everyone wants a touch here in the early stages. The referee, no stranger to this arena. He comes from Switzerland, intercepted nicely there by the Canadians. Tokket calls for it and almost gets it. Cole and Miller ran into each other but did the job of breaking that one up on the blue line. That one's touched as Lidster, formerly with Vancouver, goes back and brings it up on the left wing. Lidster pushes it gently into the American zone. Norton spins around and brings it out. The Americans now coming up with 3-man. Offside is the call. Joseph Sacco was cruising in on the left wing there, waiting for that pass. But just a bit too keen to get over that blue line. Good shot there of Green, who, as I said during the first game, played in Murano, Italy, after 13 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens. Actually played in an outdoor rink. Said he played in blizzards and rainstorms, and it was quite an experience after playing in the Montreal Forum.
Oh, I'm sure it was. If you're at all familiar with that Montreal Forum, they get great crowds there, and the people are really behind their Canadians.
Sacco pushes it in to Thomas O'Regan. Green now flips that one along the boards, and the Canadians with this slow, deliberate build-up. Cullen tried to make something of that. It didn't come off, and the Americans come back on the attack. That pass missing number 8, O'Regan, goes all the way down the ice. Icing is the call. Give the teams a chance to change their lines here in the opening stages of the first period. Still no score.
Well, as these teams settle down, I look for this game to be pretty wide open with a lot of puck movement. Good skating game.
Richard, a lot of these guys know each other. They've played against each other or with each other. How rough do you think it would be when they're at that kind of level?
Well, I think they've gone through long seasons, and I look for a rivalry out here, certainly, but a friendly rivalry as well. They'll play the body, certainly, but it's going to be pretty wide open hockey, I think.
How tough is it for them to motivate themselves after an 80-game schedule, not counting friendly games, preseason games, and, of course, playoff games?
Well, it's just because of the attitude that they've got in general. They want to win hockey, and like I say, this is a bit of a change, and it's a wind-down from the NHL season.
Dahlqvist got it up to the far side, and that's flipped into the Canadian zone. Going back for it there. Acton punches that one all the way around to Sean Byrr. Headman up to Sutter. Sutter dropped out of the play, and Blue gets a touch of it. Byrr backhands that over to the far side. Fritsch has it taken off his stick. Lesheshin, McInnes. Good to see the boys from Calgary over here. I'm sure if you're from the province of Alberta, you won't appreciate that comment, but it's nice to see Canada and the United States supported with such great talent. Going back for it as Johnson flipped it in. Lesheshin flips it along for Nieuwendyk. Goslin over the far side. The long shot way wide of the target. Michel Petit passes that on to the left wing. Nieuwendyk flips that one in. Delayed offside on the call. So we'll have a face-off in the neutral zone. Both teams yet to settle down here in the opening stages of this period. Nieuwendyk goes into the face-off circle. Luz is out, and the Americans now looking to get this thing going. Ranheim couldn't get the pass. He gets the shot away, wide of the short side. Ketchmer keeps it in. That one's passed right out front into the circle and takes a deflection back into the corner. And the Canadians passing that right in front of the net, and back they come. A long flip shot into the corner.
That's an all-Calgary front line out there for the Canadian team, with Nieuwendyk playing between Fleury and Gilmore.
Ranheim laces that one into the far corner. Coffee goes back for it. Another icing. So the first chance, if you want to call it that, coming to USA. The shot from a sharp angle close in was wide of the target. Neither goaltender really being tested yet in the first period.
Well, it's early stages yet. Both teams are going to be throwing different combinations out there and trying to open this game up a little bit.
Yzerman out there to Tokket. Getting it right in front. The goaltender comes up with a save on Tokket. Mishel Petit fed the pass. Miller drops that one back, and Petit gets back to break up the play. Yzerman now. Craiven rather, looking for Yzerman. And Craiven gets right back into the play to play defense. Miller goes in after it in the corner. Backhands that right in front of the net. The wraparound coming from number 25, Stevens, just didn't come off. The goaltender was down and the opportunity was there. The shot coming from Yzerman, a weak one, backhanding it in. Tokket now against the boards with Craiven. Back to the point, pushed along the boards behind the net. Blue again comes out. Puts that one up to Stevens, and that hits a skate and bounces in to the center ice zone. MacInnis shoots that one back into the American zone, and again Blue has to come out and touch it. Sacco finds his man at center. A lot of dump and run out there as both teams change on the fly. Cullen couldn't get a stick to that one. Flipped over the boards, and we'll have another face-off.
Well, both teams just getting their legs going here. They're dumping the puck in and chasing it, trying to loosen up out there.
Just under 5 minutes gone, still no score in the game. USA going against Canada. The Americans losing heavily to Czechoslovakia 7-1 in their first encounter. Cullen here going up against O'Regan. O'Regan comes out on top with a draw. Johnson shooting that one in. Reynolds now goes after it. Spun out of the play. Shot all the way along the boards, and the Canadians trying to get out of their zone. Some good forechecking by the Americans. The shot right on the goal coming from O'Regan. The rebound, and another good save by McLean. He's looked good throughout this tournament, both in practices and in the games, and he came up with a key save there. Sacco pushing it to the far side to Reynolds. And now the Canadians back on the attack. Pass up to Böhr. Blue handles that. Fritsch using Goslin as the decoy there. Fritsch winds up, takes the shot. That hits the goaltender, lost completely by McLean, and Lidster comes in with a baseball swing and clears it away.
Good play by Doug Lidster as Paul Coffey headbands the puck. The Canadians are going back down the ice again.
Sutter spun out of the play there. It comes back into neutral territory. Lidster gets it over to the far side. Lidster, the return pass. Lidster looking for Coffey. Another whistle on the play. Nothing too physical here. Well, McLean lost that one completely. And the Canadians with a let-off in the early stages here. Still no score.
Aside from that shot, McLean has looked sharp as he's been standing up and really kicking the shots out. Americans have had some good chances here in the early going. To face off just outside the USA zone. Norton pushing it back. The backhand lazy shot ends up on Coffey's stick. Coffey gets it forward to Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk taken out of the play by Johnson. Norton. The Americans giving that one up. The Canadians taking the shot there with Coffey close in. That took a deflection off a stick. Norton mixing it up along the boards. They're taking too much time to get it out of the zone, and now the Americans come back. The shot goes off a stick, pushed back to the top of the circle. Nieuwendyk flipping it over. The Canadians with three men forward going in on the backhand side. Blue makes a save, and Norton picks it up. Back comes USA. Cole working his way right in front of the net, and that's in the net. Well, Cole was left alone right in the crease there. This
crowd are stunned. They really didn't know how that went in. Let's look at this again.
Well, Norton brings the puck all the way down the ice, lets a wrist shot rip just wide of the goal. It comes directly off the end boards back in front. Cole is right there on the spot for the rebound. Good work from Danton Cowl.
A devastating shot here, just misses the goaltender from close in. Mishel Petit goes down to block it. Look at that, it goes off the net and eventually ends up in the back of the net. Well, an excellent effort by Cole to keep going even though the shot missed the net. Not a classic goal by any means, was it, Richard? But it still counts. The shot there coming from Craiven, and Blue made the save. So right after that goal, the Canadians back on the attack.
Well, as the play had broken down there, the Canadians were caught in. It was a 2-on-1 situation. Cole was left open for that rebound. Yzerman,
Tokket, Craiven. The number one line so far for Canada. Mishel Petit flips it over to the far side. Flipped in on goal. Steered away. All the way down, and Mishel Petit will chase it. Stevens follows him there, but Petit gets to it first, and icing is the call.
Well, I don't know about that upset bid, but it certainly started out well here for the American team as they've got the 1-0 lead early going here. It's end-to-end action. I think it's going to be a game with a lot of opportunities on both goals.
Dahlqvist wants the draw to come back to him. Miller pushes it back. Yzerman goes after it. Craiven is there. Craiven gets it back to the point. Craiven again. Craiven pushes that one in front. And that's there. That's in the net. Well, again, we see an unusual goal. Tokket was left on the far side of the goal. The assist has to go to Craiven. So the score is now 1 apiece.
Well, that makes them even on unusual goals as Steve Yzerman was in front of that goal playing American basketball jump ball here for that rebound as it was high in the air. Tokket, meanwhile, was left all alone and just dumped a little backhander into the goal.
So Tokket picks up his hat trick in the tournament. You can see they're all going up for that. The goaltender misses it. 3 players in front miss it. But Tokket makes no mistake. So some unusual goals going in. My co-commentator is shaking his head. He just can't believe it. That's pushed over the plexi. We'll have a face-off. And those goals will not do anything for the confidence of either goaltender, will it?
Well, not exactly, as they both probably felt a bit distressed there.
I'm sure that McLean will feel better now that he has seen that goal go in on Blue. Joseph Sacco. Confirmation of the score. 8:34 gone in the first period. An easy one there for Blue to push away with the blocker. Goslin runs into trouble along the boards. And the Canadians still putting on the pressure. Ketchmer eventually pushes that one forward. O'Regan gets it up on the wing. Lesheshin ties his man up, loses out, but eventually the Canadians come up with the puck. Reynolds, the Canadians now looking for Cullen on that long pass, trying to get someone in front of the net. It eventually comes to Sacco as he breaks forward. Norton gets it back, the shot right on the target coming from Robert Reynolds, and McLean makes the save. Well, 1-1 is the score. Join us in a moment after the break. Welcome back to the first period here in Freiburg, Switzerland. Canada won, the USA won. No scoring while we were away, but the bad news is that Joe Nieuwendyk suffered a knee injury and was taken off the ice.
Well, it was a clean hit from Jim Johnson of the American team. He appeared to catch a skate or something shortly afterwards and went over hard on his knee.
It doesn't look like Nieuwendyk will be back, so the Calgary Star, after just a few minutes, is lost to the Canadian lineup. Another hit right at center. Perhaps these teams getting a bit more physical than we thought they would get. A lot at stake here, a lot of national pride. Everyone wants to win every time they step on the ice. The Americans started things off at 7:18 with Cole getting that unusual goal when it bounced off the backboards and the goaltender was in front of it. And then that high one tipped in by Tokket, more of a basketball play than anything else. Recchi for Canada tips that one forward, pushed along the boards to O'Regan, just a bit too far for him, and Coffee comes up with it. Coffee on the wing. The Canadians with Cullen. Looking for Recchi out front. The Americans pick that one off. Cullen, some good forechecking, some good little moves by him. Cullen ducking and diving, bobbing and weaving along the boards. Pushes that one along to Craiven. Mixing up the lines out there. They're trying to change on the fly. The long shot is an easy one for McLean. Pushed away nicely by Lidster. Lidster coming back on the attack. A lot of players offside there. Some good forechecking by McSwain. And the face-off will be in the neutral zone.
Well, you can see both teams are going forward here, even the defense. So if either team is able to get the puck quickly in their defensive zone and break out, we're going to see some breakaways. There's some great opportunities with 2 or 3 on ones.
Joel Otto comes out on the ice. Faces off against Yzerman. I'm sure those two have met before. Otto grabs it, brings it down, and pushes it up on the wing. The back pass, the shot, takes a deflection, the backhand shot. Wide of the target. Dahlqvist was there to get some wood on it. Pushed forward for Fleury. Losing out there to Ranheim. Bumped along the boards, intended for Johnson. Too far for him. Ranheim couldn't contain it. Dahlqvist into the far corner. Johnson is tied up by Green. A little hooking there, but that's allowed to go. Gilmore. Green now. Green looking for someone to pass to. Gilmore. Michel Petit. A big burly defenseman for Quebec. Taken out of the play. Gets that over to the far side. The Americans. Fritsch on the wing wants it. A lot of passes going astray in the neutral zone. Lescheshin pins that against the woodwork. Overlooked by Greg Brown, the Boston College 22-year-old star, and we'll have a face-off in the neutral zone.
Well, an interesting combination here that you might want to watch for is Mark Johnson is playing with Joel Otto out there. Of course, Otto a star with Calgary, and Mark Johnson, very experienced player with the New Jersey Devils, a good two-way hockey player who was a star with the '80 Olympic team that won the gold medal for the U.S.
Sutter and Norton gets it. Pushing it through to Galliani. Norton again looking for Galliani, and he finds him. Galliani works his way over, runs into too many red shirts. Sean Burr, a long pass into the far corner for Sutter. Sutter golfs at that. That goes off the goaltender and eventually deflects out to McInnes. McInnes fires it back in. Shots coming from all angles here. Sutter getting a piece of that one. One the score. Still in the first period as the teams change up their lines, and you can see the diminutive Fleury, number 26, 5'6", but he really does pack a punch. What is that orange thing?
I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a pumpkin or a sun-kissed orange blown up or what it is. I don't know. I don't even know what team is using it for support.
Right in front of the net, Cole took a swipe at it, almost had a goal, and Tokket gives it back. Tokket to Yzerman, spins around and comes back now. Tokket with Craiven and Yzerman. Yzerman taken out at the defense, and another chance there for Dantón Cowl. Stevens working his way in. Stevens gives it up to Miller, and Miller takes the shot. Tokket picks it up after McLean made the save. Pushed along the boards, and the Canadians relaxing just a bit too much around their own goal, having problems clearing that puck. Left in the neutral zone, coming back on the attack, right in on Blue. Blue goes down, had the stick down, and that hit the side of the net. Lidster backhands that one into the neutral zone, and eventually it's shoved back into Canadian territory. Coffee on his own tries to split the defense. MacInnis along the boards with Cullen. Cullen for Canada, up on the left wing. The Canadians taken out nicely by Dahlqvist, so active around that net. And as we saw against the Czechs, can also score goals. Adams now. Adams squeezed out of the play, and the Canadians putting on a little pressure here. Adams going after number 3, Dahlqvist. Up to the hash marks. Sacco tries to backhand that along the boards, and it didn't come off. The Americans under pressure now as Adams presses his man against the woodwork. O'Regan. Lesheshin for Canada decides to go back behind the net and start over. A long pass is going to go right to Blue's doorstep, and he shoots that one back out into the neutral zone. Left at center, and the Americans now. Number 10, Ranheim, taken out of the play. The long shot coming from 28, Gilmore. That misses the target. Reynolds picks it up and flips it in. McLean shoots that backhand. A nice play by him. Yzerman wants it as he skates on the left wing. The Canadians with 4 men forward. Yzerman trailing. Intercepted there by Ranheim and picked up by the Americans. 24, Norton. It goes as far as Petit. Gilmore. Poke check nicely along the boards. Both teams showing some good defensive play at times here. And the Canadians now. Blue pushes that one away nicely. Ranheim, a backhand pass intercepted by Petit. Goslin. Stevens going after it here. McLean gets to it first. Green to Petit. 1 minute to go here in the first period. 1-1 the score. Petit getting it forward, then gets it back, and then gets it forward. Sutter drops it back. Petit, a lazy shot. The Blue handles easily. Ketchmer picks it up and flips it around to Goslin. He can't control it. It goes all the way up to Stevens. Stevens looking for the long pass. Coffee gives it off. A shot right on the target. Gilmore was there. Miller tied up his man, and the Americans with seconds ticking away try to bring that one in, but it's intercepted nicely by Bёrr.
Well, good action here as we wind down to the end of this first period. Both teams applying the pressure. The Canadians having the better of the action here. A few long shots, but nothing that John Blue hasn't been able to handle.
Sutter getting a penalty there off the play for Canada. And this one will go into the second period, and he's asking the Swiss timekeeper, hey, is this water or what?
Number 14,
Power play situation for USA as they start this one out. Gregory Brown pushes it up to Sacco. MacInnis is there in the corner, try to knock this one away. Pushed all the way down the ice. Well, there goes the buzzer to end the first period. 1 goal for USA, 1 goal for Canada. Join us in a moment for the second period. Welcome back to Freiburg in Switzerland for the World Ice Hockey Championships Pool A. The Canadians and the Americans getting set to come on the ice, and you can see the Canadian supporters there with their little teddy bears and their shirts alongside the American supporters. Great rivalry, but that's as far as it goes.
Well, it was a good first period with both teams having quite a few opportunities. Pretty even all the way as the shots on goal were 12 each for both goaltenders.
The bad news, of course, is the loss of number 15, Joe Nieuwendyk, for Canada. The Canadian star with Calgary lost through that knee injury. That could affect them greatly, couldn't it?
Well, that is a blow to their team, as Dave King had high expectations of what Otto, Ranheim, Nieuwendyk, and the other Calgary players could do for these two lineups, and King has certainly taken a loss here with the loss of Joe Nieuwendyk.
So the Canadians playing from right to left will start with the man in the penalty box. The Americans now bringing it up, working their way in with Otto. Otto stops, drops it back to Norton. Norton, a weak shot. That's by, and that's in the net! Johnson with just 21 seconds gone in the period gets a power play goal, and another one that comes off the backboards.
Well, that's twice that we've seen that so far. Americans on the power play here. Norton with the shot from the point. It was him the last time that took the shot. Came directly off the boards. Mark Johnson is just quicker than McLean getting to the puck. Puts a backhander behind him.
Once again from a different angle. That one taking what looked like a deflection there, but again the goaltender too slow to get over to cover that one. And I'm sure that Coach King will not be impressed with that. The shot coming there from Canada. Coffee eventually picks up the loose puck, and the Americans shoot it back in. Lidster goes back for it. So Johnson, as you can hear in the background, getting credit for that goal. Eisenman leaves it over for Tokket. Craiven is there too. Tokket loses it along the boards. Coffee eventually gets past, and coming back is Cole. Cole passing it right in front. Cole is there but can't get a handle on it to put it in the open corner.
Well, good action here as both teams are surging toward that goal.
Norton headmans the puck, and that's picked up by Craiven. He eventually loses out. Stevens drops it back. The Americans looking confident as Miller gets it right into the slot. Tokket wants to go after this one. Stevens is there, didn't make much of an effort, and the Canadians are back on the attack now. The long shot by Tokket, well wide, and we'll have another face-off. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Dave King makes of McLean's performance so far on those two goals.
Well, the Americans with a quick goal here, but both teams seem to have come out a bit slow at the start of this period.
2-1 the score. The teams change their lines. Canada bringing it deep into their own territory with Curtis Lacheshin getting it forward. Pass going astray there as Johnson goes back for it. That's James Johnson. We have a Mark Johnson, both on the American side. Adams launches that one along the boards, and we're going to have a penalty here in the second period.
Well, that was right in front of the referee, and Chris Dahlquist really put the grab on Recchi, pulled him down. Not much question about that. 2 minutes for holding.
Number 3 for USA sits it out for 2 minutes.
You see the replay here, Dahlquist really putting the grab on Recchi, who are teammates with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know what he was thinking there, if he had a word with him when he pulled him down.
And again, you can hear Dahlquist in the background saying, is this water? I don't know what they find in the NHL when they go in the penalty box, but it's got to be water. The slap shot takes that one off the boards. Left there for MacInnis. MacInnis and Coffey on the D. Flipped up onto the right side to Cullen. Coffey wants it on this side. MacInnis has it there. Coffey gets it, and that bounces over his stick. Cullen now for Canada. Cullen, number 31, working his way in. Pushed that a bit too far. Norton eventually got a handle on it, but couldn't get it away. Adams races for that, and Brown always got there first. Canadians looking to get something going. Cullen again flips that to the far side to MacInnis. Adams allowed to move right in. The shot is right there, and a good save by the goalie. John Blue watched that one all the way, but the Canadian was allowed to move right into the slot there.
Well, as the box broke down, Adams skated into the slot, but Blue had that one all the way. Good glove save by John Blue.
Be strong on the face-off. Coming from the Canadian bench. So important to win these face-offs as Yzerman gets set. Kicks that one back, and Coffey, who's still on the ice, he sees a lot of ice time for Canada, gets it over to MacInnis. So they've changed the forward lineup. The slap shot coming right in, that took a deflection coming from Craiven. He's out there with Tokket. MacInnis losing out along the boards to Cole. Miller going in now. Miller moves right in front. He scores! Miller got the pass from Cole, and they've scored another one right against the run of play. 3-1 for USA over Canada.
A very cheeky move here by the college kid. He comes in, he's got Coffey backing in toward the goal, keeps the puck right on the ice and finds the post. It hits the inside of it and goes over into the other corner. A nice goal for young Miller. There you see him again coming down the ice. His head is up. Coffey had backed in toward the goal. McLean has moved out as well. The puck is kept right on the ice. A nice shot by Miller.
3-1 the score. A couple of quick goals by the USA and put them into the lead. Craiven gets that one back to the defense. Curtis Lasheshin off the plexi, going back for it is Norton. The Canadians now with Lasheshin taking a shot. Good save there by Brown. He's looked solid. No icing on the play as the Canadians bring it back forward. Tip up on the far side. Tokket to Michel Petit. Petit, the big defenseman, finds himself in the corner. Yzerman positioned right in front of the net. Picked off by the Americans. The backhand pass goes into the far corner as both teams change on the fly. Craiven backhands that one to Michel Petit. Petit finds himself all over the ice. He really doesn't stop skating. Lasheshin. Craiven still out there looking for a chance to change, and the Canadians working their way in nicely. Right in on goal. Gilmore, that's in! Sean Böhr was left alone in front of the net. He picked that far corner, and he makes it 3-2. Gilmore will get an assist.
Well, with the loss of Nieuwendyk, Böhr has moved up to play on that line with Gilmore and Fleury, and they combine well here. Good work from Doug Gilmore. As he goes to the end boards and lays a backhander out. Sean Böhr is wide open in front of the net. There you see Doug Gilmore. Blue had gone out to play the puck, and he paid the price for it. Nobody in front of the net except Sean Byrne, and he puts it into the corner.
Blue just inches away from getting the glove on that, but the 3-2 scoreline stands. The Canadians coming back into this one. Perhaps another goaltending mistake on that goal. Sean Byrne still out there, couldn't contain that one. Danton Cowl, and eventually that's flipped into the Canadian defense, and Coffee gets it forward, looking for the quick break. Pushed up by Dahlqvist, and eventually batted into the Canadian zone. Well, left right there by the goaltender. He should have had that. McLean very slow to react with those pucks around the net. Offside the call, and that puck was sitting, Richard, right beside McLean, and I would have thought that he could have got a stick on that.
Well, both goalies have taken a few chances here. Maybe McLean says, I'll stay home on this one. He actually should have had that one. Dahlqvist going in. He's taken out behind the net. There's 3 or 4 players tied up behind here, and you see the referee gets involved. He's pulled down as well. The puck comes across the front of the net. McLean really should have cut that one off. He was very lucky there.
Face off outside the Canadians' blue line. Brown gets it across. Taken out at the defense by Richard Green. The Canadians now coming back. Acton with the goalie out of the net. Acton behind, gets that right in front, intended for Green. And he really couldn't get the shot away. Peti head manning it, and the Canadians now. Tokket is brought to the ice. No whistle on the play. A few whistles from the Canadian supporters though. Pushed over by Mark Johnson. And again we see McLean coming way out of his net. Johnson. Sutter gets that one. Keith Acton on the wing. The long shot steered away. That came from Tokket. And the Americans losing control of this. Acton, the weak shot. Sutter can't get onto it. Pushed away by Fritsch all the way along the boards as far as Lesheshin, and eventually that comes down to Canadian territory. Cullen for Canada. Cullen with Adams, dropping it back. Working his way in was Lesheshin, but the pass didn't come off, and you see how fast Mark Recchi got back to defend. That pass intended for Cullen bounced over his stick. Galliani to Norton. Norton being pressured there by Adams and eventually taken out of the play. Lesheshin shoots a weak one. That's in the net. Number 8, Adams. Perfectly positioned beside the net. Some good forechecking coming from the Canadian side to keep the pressure on USA. Let's watch this again.
Well, the Americans had the chance to get the puck out of the zone, and they weren't able to. Lesheshin kept it in. Cullen was in front, and Adams got the final touch on it for a nice goal. There's Lesheshin. The puck is deflected away as it was headed for Cullen. It's knocked away by number 15, Fritsch, in front of the net, right onto the stick of Adams, who makes no mistake.
So the Canadians coming back strong here in the second period to level the score. 3 goals apiece. Some good forechecking. They've really put the pressure on the Americans during this period. After those goals from Johnson and Miller gave the Americans a 3-1 lead. Bёrr and Adams replying for Canada to level the score.
Well, once again, there's an offsides call, but the Americans are getting the puck out near the blue line, and they're going back into their own zone with it. It's something that as a coach you don't preach, that's for sure. Get the puck out of the zone while you have the chance. The Canadians are starting to forecheck them a lot harder now.
Both teams taking their time out there to change their lines. Miller goes in the face-off circle with Yzerman. Yzerman picks it up, and eventually it goes to Coffee. Lidster Gets that one forward. The break is on now. Creyven couldn't get to that one. Creyven goes back in after it. Yzerman is there, wraps it around, right under the goaltender, and Tokket was there to follow up. And the return shot coming from Lidster, wide of the target, and a lot of pressure from Canada here. Let's watch this again. The Canadian line with Yzerman out there trying to wrap that around, doing a lot of damage right onto the red line.
Well, Yzerman really had a good chance there, and he almost made that one pay off for him in front. Doug Lister came in with a blast at the end. The Americans did well to keep that puck out of the net, as they were very lucky and a bit sloppy in their own zone.
Tokket almost put it away from point-blank range, but again, he couldn't get the handle on it. Push behind the goal. The Canadians continue the pressure as John Blue smothers that against the metalwork. And we have a little extracurricular activity along the boards, but nothing serious.
Well, the Canadians have definitely picked up their game here, and the Americans are going to have to be careful. They're not clearing that zone very well.
Yzerman goes into the face-off circle.
The Canadians leave out that line. The Americans not happy with what they just saw. They've changed their lineup. Fresh line out here, the Joe Otto line.
Yzerman wins it. Otto loses it. The shot coming in. Takes a deflection. The Americans pick it up. A little too long on the puck. How many times have we seen that? Otto now flips it over, intercepted nicely by Leschetschin as he brings it back. The defenseman falls. The Canadians with 3 men forward. Right in on goal. The shot, and Blue makes the save.
Blue came up very big on Yzerman, and the play continues down the ice.
MacInnis spinning his man out of the play. Otto goes in after it along with Renheim. They're waiting for the whistle to blow. The official wants them to carry on playing. That shot is handled by McLean, an easy one for him. And we'll have another face-off. So once again, we see the Canadians breaking through, that time with 3 men.
Well, the one defenseman on the left side had fallen down at center ice, and that left Tokket all alone going down the wing with that puck. Blue came up very big there as he stopped the 3-on-1.
McLean getting set for this face-off. Canadians just a bit too anxious to get into that circle. The shot coming there from Reynolds took a deflection. O'Regan mixes it up along the boards. It's shot all the way around to the far side and down the ice. An icing call, and we'll have another face-off deep in Canadian territory.
Icing.
3-3 the score here in the second period. It's been a real seesaw battle. Both teams having their chances and both teams taking their chances. Thomas O'Regan for USA. Michel Petit picks it up. He's played a solid game throughout. A pass took a deflection, and the Americans with Miller bring it back in. Dumped into the neutral zone. Gilmore trying to get something going. Jeff Norton up on the wing to Sacco. Michel Petit over to Green. 34-year-old Green, looking very youthful, playing out there, playing a physical game. Gilmore spun around, but he hangs onto it. Or rather, Fleury. The shot coming from number 11, Bёrr. Fleury over to Bёrr. The shot right on the target, and Blue coming up with the save.
Fleury's a very active forward out there. He's fun to watch. He really does a lot of moving around. He's got a lot of moves. Pushes that puck over to Sean Bёrr. And there you see Fleury going hard for the rebound. He's a never-say-die player. Very colorful character to watch actually on the ice. He's small in stature, but he's got a lot of heart.
Sutter looking to get that one back. Coffee takes a swing at it from the slot. The shot misses the net, and this time Blue turns around and gets it. And we've seen how troublesome those rebounds can be. Obviously somebody's had a word with Blue.
Well, he's obviously watched the other end and he has seen how active those end boards are. Here's a look at Gosselin, who's trying to keep Tokket away from that net. That's not an easy job. Rick Tocket's very energetic and he'll do anything to get to that goal.
A lot of players back to help out. The Canadians still getting the shots away here. Johnson picks it up for USA, bounces it off the boards, and that's just flipped aimlessly into the neutral zone. Coming back now is Cole. Cole with two men back eventually finds someone to go with the. McLean loses that easy shot that came from Stevens. Johnson goes back for it for USA, being shadowed by Acton. Tokket gets in there at the midway point here in the period. Sutter losing out. Guy Gosselin. Canadians racing back to get in a position. Miller has it tipped away from him, and back come the Canadians in the shape of Tokket. Tokket whistles that one around, and Blue stops it. Gregory Brown having problems, and he backhands it over to Guy Gosselin. Gosselin flips that one to center, batted down by Lesheshin. Recchi trying to do the wraparound here. Otto gets the return pass. Otto's tied up, can't get to it. He's beaten to it by McInnis. Flipped away, not a good pass, but he gets away with it. And once again, the Americans getting away with bad passes. Cole picks it up now. A weak shot right on McLean, makes no mistake. And Adams for Canada gets it over to the far side. The Canadians, Adam wants it back, and he gets it back. Drops it back to Cullen. The shot coming right in on Blue. Deflected away, coming from number 18, Recchi. Lesheshin pushes that one back in behind the net, and the Canadians keep the pressure on.
Well, a lot of action in the American goal as Jeff Norton's back there trying to get the puck out. He moves it around the net. Now they've got a breakout.
The Americans coming back on the attack, a 3-on-3 break, given over to number 10, Ranheim. Johnson wants it back at the point, and he bats it back into the zone. Pushed as far as Adams for Canada, and the Canadians now changing on the fly. Johnson will bring it back. A lot of action at both ends. Both teams doing a great job of getting back into the play. No one hanging loose. Everyone coming back into the play. Intercepted there by Sacco.
Michel Petit with the blast back into the zone. The Americans trying to change on the fly as well as Johnson gets back there.
The Americans with Sacco along the boards, giving that one up easily. Eventually, it comes to an American stick, and that's pushed forward. Reynolds wants it. He's going to skate after it, but McLean will get there first. McLean still out there in no man's land as that one's pushed into center ice. Johnson flips that one forward. That takes a deflection. The Canadians regrouping with Green picking it up. Up on the wing, Craiven is on the right wing, Tokket on the left wing. Eisenman drops it back. Green wants it, picks it up at the circle. Squeezed out of the play, a little cross-checking there on Reynolds, gets away with it. Craiven takes his man out of the play. Tokket takes a wild shot, and that hit a stick and deflected over the far side to Fritsch. Fritsch got it as far as the blue line, a delayed offside on the call. That one is waved off as the Americans bring it out over the blue line, the red line, and now the blue line, and work their way deep into Canadian territory. Fritsch backhands that one in, and Michel Petit picks it up. Coffee goes after it and pushes it along the boards, and the Canadians now with two men forward looking for that quick break. Trying to get that one out front. Norton was there. Tokket backhanded it. Gilmore is there. Coffee backhands it, and it's picked off by the Americans.
The Canadian fans screaming for an interference penalty in front of that goal.
The shot coming from Brown is wide of the target. The return shot batted down right at the goal. The break coming in by Gilmore, takes a shot, and Blue eventually pounced on the loose puck, and that was close.
Once again, little Fleury making things happen. He was the man busting hard for that rebound. The puck bounced, and Jeff Norton really couldn't control it. Blue did well to keep that one out, as him and Norton were both right on in the goal crease. There you see that puck bouncing again. Norton really can't get a grip on it. Fleury comes flying in there. Blue manages to hold on to it.
Gilmore always dangerous when he comes down that wing. Fleury so quick to react on those rebounds.
Well, Fleury's like a little bee out there the way he's flying around on that ice. He's always going to make things happen. Sean Byrr was in there as well, and that's what the little confrontation was after, that Byrr had taken a swipe at Blue after he'd covered the puck, but nothing serious developed.
Confirmation of the score there, 3 goals apiece, Canada against the USA. Right now it's Canada with the pressure on. Flipped into the corner by Yzerman. Sutter, the shot wide of the target. Mixing up these lines just a little bit out there. Dave King for Canada experimenting.
Well, Tokket had been caught out there on a long shift, and he played with the other 2 forwards that came out, so he's getting a rest, and Yzerman's out there now with Sutter.
Yzerman getting it right across. The goaltender way out of his net. McInnes came in. It wasn't a difficult shot. But Blue way out. Now the Americans coming back with Cole. Miller was right there, but the pass didn't come. Stolen off the stick of Acton and pushed back into the Canadian zone. Stevens takes the shot, and that's handled by McLean. Cole gets a piece of it. The Canadians now pick it up on the far boards, but it's pushed back behind the net. The Americans trying to get it right out in front, and McInnes comes up with it and gets it forward to Acton. Acton, as the teams change on the fly, pushes it back in, and we see Tokket come back on the ice. And that's one of the problems both teams have had here. We're talking about mixing up the lines. They really haven't had a chance to experiment to see which is the best combination for lines, have they?
Well, not really, as both of these teams came over here, and every day there's new additions with players flying in.
So it's difficult for King and Taylor to see who's going to work best with whom. They do from time to time mix it up, but right now Tokket, Yzerman, and Craiven are going well. Going into the far corner. Fleury trying to look for Tokket. Pushed out into center ice. Green for Canada. Will push it all the way back into USA territory. Blue leaves it right there. The Canadians pick it up. Tocket's right in front. Craiven is there. The Americans come back with it. The long shot. Ketchmer, not a difficult one, right in front. Number 14, Johnson was there. Ketchmer again pushes that one wide of the target, looking for the rebound. And Craiven bats that one forward. Not a good play. The Canadians coming in now. Right in on goal. Blue makes the great save right on number 26, Fleury. How did he come up with that save? Green fans on the shot, and the Americans bring it out.
Great save by Blue there, as Fleury and Tokket were both in on him all alone.
Let's look at this again. The defenseman trips 2 of the best players on the Canadian team coming in.
Well, there's the view that Blue has as Fleury tries to get him on the backhand, and Blue does very well to come up with that puck. He didn't buy that at all.
Goslin doing a good job of taking his man out of the play. As we look at the American penalty,
Joel Otto sitting in the penalty box. Americans will go down here after some close action in their net. The puck is really bouncing around out there at the moment. I don't know if the ice is getting soft or what, but it's taking some crazy bounces, and the teams are coming up with some weird opportunities here.
Recchi for Canada got a piece of that one and eventually shot it round. Dahlqvist hammered that one down to McLean, and that's pushed into the crowd. And you can see the Americans, in particular number 11 Reynolds, calling for a delay of game.
Well, he was putting pressure on, and McLean was just trying to flip that off the boards and got a little bit too much snap on that, put it up in the crowd.
They're quick to call that one in the National Hockey League. Goaltenders for too long a time have been putting it over the flexi to relieve the pressure, and now they call it delay of game. The Canadians on the attack, looking to hit Adams in front. Cullen on the far wing, getting it back. Coffey's got it over to the far side. McInnis to Coffey. Coffey to McInnis. McInnis back to Coffey. Oh, and some good defensive work from Robert Reynolds as he made a spear, a lunge at that puck. Adams receives a high stick and an elbow in the face from Johnson. He's taken out of the play. Cole can't get to it. That shot coming from Coffey is intercepted. Johnson batted that one forward, and Cole comes up with it, trying to get around. McInnis squeezed out of the play, and the Canadians now back on the attack. Adams to the far side. The return pass. Adams takes it with his glove, drops it back to number 4, Curtis Lasheshin, and again it bounces over his stick. The pass up on the wing to Tokket right in front. Oh, and Blue comes out and makes a great save on that deflection. Again, how did he get that one? 29 seconds remaining on the American penalty.
Well, it was a great idea by Tokket. He had to get it in the air to make that pass work, to get it by the defenseman, and it almost paid off. Blue was right on the spot to come up with that save.
The action all around the American zone. You can see Johnson giving Adams a hard time there. Bit of a bear hug around the neck. I'm sure Johnson will keep doing that throughout the game if he can get away with it. The shot coming from Michel Petit. Tokket flipping that one along the boards. Norton is there to bring it out for USA. Norton will kill this one off as long as he can. Michel Petit winding this one up with Lasheshin. Flipped all the way around to the far side. The penalty to Otto is complete, and Ranheim brings it back for USA. Ranheim going to Otto. Otto working his way right in goal. The shot bounced up and deflected wide, and the Canadians now with 3 men forward, 2 Americans getting back into play. Some good defensive work there by Guy Goslin to push that into the far corner. Time ticking away in the period, and lots of action at both ends.
Well, it certainly has opened up. It's end-to-end here as both teams really going forward with this puck.
The Canadians still on the attack here, going in on the backhand side. The shot right on Blue. And that's loose, and he lost sight of that as Green picks it up in the corner. Lots of pushing and shoving as Blue eventually pounces on it, and Yzerman and the boys are all over that American net.
Well, Blue couldn't hang on to that puck, and he looked like he was out of control there for a minute as you see him tapping his defenseman on the pad as if to say thanks. There's a lot of action around this American goal. Yzerman, unfortunate not to put that puck in. It laid right there in the crease. Ketchmer came back and did a great job to clear that out.
Well, Gilmore was looking for that one. He had number 4 written all over this one. Watch it lying there between the goaltenders' pads and eventually all by itself. And the Americans just shoot it off the line.
Well, you can see Blue, he's looking around as if to say, yes, it will be you, Ketchmer, that I'll tap on the pads if we get out of this one, and that's how it happened.
28 seconds remaining in the period. A let-off for USA, but it's far from over. The shot right on Blue, coming from Lidster, way back at the point, and Blue makes another good save. Johnson pushes it over to Sacco. Green intercepts and brings it behind his own zone. Green headmanning the puck. A bouncing one picked off at the American defense. Just a few seconds now remaining in the period as Dahlqvist gets it as far as the blue line. Blue throws that forward, and there goes the buzzer to end the period. 3-3 the score, and what a seesaw battle it was. Join us in a moment for the third and final period. Welcome back to the third and final period. Canada against USA. 3-3 is the score. Richard, what a game. They really haven't disappointed us, have they?
No, it's been great end-to-end action, wide open ice hockey, and I look for it to continue through this last 20 minutes. Shots on goal have been pretty much equal. Not many penalties. It's anybody's game.
So from the face-off, with USA playing from right to left in the lighter jerseys, pushing away there is Stevens, taken out of the play, and Tokket gets it on the wing. Tokket fires that one all the way over to the far side. Icing is the call.
Icing.
Good shot there of Paul Coffey. Edmonton Oiler, Pittsburgh player, seen a lot of action in the NHL and really is enjoying his play here in Switzerland.
Well, he's enjoying this because it's a big ice surface as well, and it gives him a chance to move with that puck, and that's what he likes to do. He's like a fourth forward out there.
Coffey with the puck, looking for Tokket. Not a particularly good pass from him.
Offside.
Threw Tokket offside on the play, so we'll do it all over again. Rick Tokket, who plays for Philadelphia, 26 years old, up there with Yzerman as Lidster gets it over to the far side. Coffey runs into a wall of white shirts. Tokket pushes it into Craiven. Craiven taken out of the play by Sacco, and the Americans back on the attack with O'Regan. Pushed all the way back by Craiven. Not a good move by him, and that's left right out front, and this time McLean makes no mistake on the save. Craiven now into the slot area, dropping it back on the defense. Lidster working his way in. The Canadians buzzing all around that net. This is left wide open, the shot there. Yzerman got a piece of it. And the Americans slow to pick up their checks here in their own zone. Lidster pushes it to the far side. Both teams changing on the go here. Brown shadows his man as that's punched all the way around. Ranheim squeezes his check out of the play. Now they're picking their men up. That's right in front. Yzerman couldn't contain it, and the Americans coming back. Otto looking for someone to pass to. Eventually gets it all the way over to Ranheim. He slips and falls, and the Canadians now on the attack. Pushed up to Cullen. Cullen trying to get that one forward. He does. Following in is McInnes, but the pass didn't come. The Americans with Otto. Ranheim. Otto going in on the backhand side. Still has control of the puck. That hit a skate. Took a deflection and ended up on a Canadian stick, and it's shot all the way down as Gosselin goes back for it.
With this being in wide open hockey here, both teams getting quick changes.
Well, they will go for 30 to 45 seconds out there, and then they'll try to change any longer than that, and
Make the nice rotation play, but shoot the puck at this dog.
it really does wear down the old legs. He's saying you make the nice rotation play, but shoot the puck at this guy. It's really nice to work it around and make the great passes, but you still got to get the shots away. A long pass there intended for Bёrr from Fleury. Stevens hit in the boards by Fleury. Michel Petit can't contain that, and the Americans now with a 2-on-1 break. Going in is Cole. Cole works his way right in, and the shot steered wide. Fleury pushes that behind the net, and the Canadians now so confident they work it in front of their net. That could have been a mistake. Batted away. Dahlqvist to the far side, and the Canadians coming under fire, and that's an icing call as the Americans dump it down the ice.
Well, that's another opportunity the Americans have missed as Cole was right in there. McLean was right out of the play. Unable to put that puck in, though. He shot it wide. There you see Cole coming in. It's a 2-on-1. They've got Green down now at this point. All he's got to do is get it over the goalie. Shoots it way wide of the goal.
Getting set for this face-off. Otto giving directions out there. Jeff Norton, who plays with the Islanders, got that one forward. Otto. Yzerman now. Tokket takes a shot, and that's wide. On the far side. O'Regan out there with Sacco. Offside the call.
Good look at Tom O'Regan there, a Boston boy who's done well through the university ranks, plays over in Landshut, West Germany. He's had a few good seasons over there. He's been near the top in the scoring.
So he's familiar with the wide ice surfaces as Yzerman comes down on the left wing, tries to get it right across the Tokket, intercepted nicely by Jeff Norton. The pass not cleared away, and eventually that goes out into the center ice zone for Canada. Yzerman spins and turns, throws off one check. Again, it's Norton who picks up the stray pass, puts it through Tocket's legs. Sacco couldn't hang on to it, and it's pushed back in. Norton gets that one all the way around as far as Coffey. Reynolds. McLean way out of his net. That's left behind, and the Canadians now with Coffey coming back on the attack. Looking for Adams. He picks that one up, tries to find Coffey again. He bats that one down. The puck is loose at the side of the net, and the Americans now are on the attack. Coming down on the wing, Renheim. Coffey is there to pick it up. Paul Coffey has got Sutter at center. Coffey allowed to progress all the way down, and the shot just whistles wide of the target. And he really was allowed to cruise in and let that shot go. Stevens takes a shot, and that's handled by McLean, but not that well. Cullen just tipped out of the play as that bounces off the woodwork, and Stevens goes after it. Squeezed into the boards by McInnes. And the Canadians back on the attack with Cullen. Cullen looking to get someone in the shot. The slot rather, McInnes, and that's in the net. Fleury does the war dance, the victory salute. The rebound came out, and we said that this guy was quick to get the rebounds. He was very agile. Watch him respond to this one.
Oh, Fleury's very quick on these rebounds. He's a very flamboyant little character as well. You see him coming in here. The goalie doesn't know where it is. Fleury does, and as he scores the goal, he makes the swoop around and does his own little dance. There's the puck. Blue can't handle it. It's hit. He doesn't know where it is. It's down in front of him. The American defense just stood around and watched Fleury come flying through and put that rebound in.
To be fair to Blue, McInnes let go a rocket. The rebound came out, and Fleury was there. So the Canadians leading now 4-3. And again, it's McInnes going in, this time on the backhand side, happy to dump that into the corner. Confirmation of the score here in the third period. McInnes goes back to touch that for icing. A good shift from him as he takes a deep breath and goes off for a well-deserved rest. And he's replaced by Richard Green, 34-year-old Canadian, formerly with the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, it's been one of those games, up and down, and with a bouncing puck, anything can happen. We've seen it all here. Canadians were down 3-1, they're now up 4-3. Still a lot of time to go.
Otto taking a long time on this face-off. The Fritsch is trying to tell him where he wants him to go. Yzerman tries to kick that one back, and Norton picks it up for USA. Norton has got Fritsch on the wing, and it's eventually put on his stick. Fritsch now for USA. Tries to get that one into Otto in the center. Pushed in by Ketchmer. Green goes back for it. Michel Petit eventually got the stick on it and pushed it away to the far side. Yzerman picks it up on the left wing. Yzerman against Norton with Tokket in front of the net. Still, it's Yzerman cruising in that corner. Gets that one behind the net, bounces that one off the woodwork, is Craiven. Craiven takes a swipe at it, but Michel Petit does the job and pushes it back into Norton. That's right in front. Again, no Americans there to defend against, and Blue eventually has to do it himself. They're taking swipes from all angles now. Petit gets the shot right through the skate, and that eventually took a deflection. And the Americans now with a quick shot up to Jeff Norton, looking for the fast break, but it just didn't come off.
Well, the American defense is standing around, and Yzerman and Tokket were flipping a coin to see who was going to put that puck in the net, and neither one of them managed to jam that past the pads.
Dahlqvist shoots that one to the far side. The pass intended for Stevens doesn't come off. Miller is there to help out. Cole has it batted off his stick, and the Canadians are putting in some tenacious forechecking as Stevens now works his way in. Lidster gets a piece of that, but it's still the Americans in possession. Miller, oh, a cheeky little move from him. Miller goes in on the backhand, and McLean makes the save, and it's left there for the Canadians to come back on the attack. Fleury racing down the right wing as it spun off his stick, and we're going to have a penalty on the play. Fleury skates right to the penalty box.
Well, Theoren Fleury doesn't even slow down when he goes to the penalty boxes. He really gave a good whack there on the defenseman's arm. Referee was right on the spot. As you see the play coming down the boards here, there's Fleury going down the side. He's hooked up a little bit. And as Dahlqvist goes over to get that puck, whack, there's a two-hander. The referee's right on the spot.
Well, the referee missed the hook by Stevens, but certainly got that slashing call by Fleury. Look at this again. The slash there will cost him 2 minutes.
Well, this is an all-important power play here for the U.S. as they're down by a goal. They've got to do something here to get back into it. The Canadians have been out skating them all over the ice the last few minutes.
Sutter pushes that one forward. Ketchmer goes after it for USA. Miller has played really well so far in the game. Good stick handler as Norton comes up with that one. Lidster taken out along the boards, and the Americans putting on the pressure now. The shot trickles wide. Ketchmer goes after it, tries to keep it in. Some good pressure here as Ketchmer has it on the far side. The Canadians now with Sutter push that one away, and the break is on. Blue comes way out of his net and just gently taps that one to the far side. USA getting back nicely with Stevens and Cole there to help out. The Canadians, oh, the long shot hit the post. The Canadians changing on the fly, almost picking up a shorthanded goal. Johnson works his way into the corner, tried to pass it out front, and that didn't come off. Norton picks that off nicely. Tokket will forecheck. Tokket, good work from him. The backhander, not a good pass from him. Norton has it, flips that one into the neutral zone. They call it a two-line pass, but the Canadians are saying they touched it first.
Well, the Americans are too far apart here to set this power play up properly. They're not working together at the moment. The Canadians are really skating well all over the ice. Tokket doing a good job there, cutting off the one pass, keeping the puck into that American zone with 37 seconds left on Fleury's penalty.
4-3 the score, the Canadians in the lead. They really have clawed themselves back into this game. Yzerman lost the draw. Otto wants it. Ranheim dropping it back to Dahlqvist. A giveaway there to Yzerman, and he'll take it right down the ice. Yzerman with Tokket. Yzerman takes the shot, and Blue has to be sharp on that one as he comes up with the save. Yzerman here working in on the wrong wing. Blue getting a piece of that, eventually smothers it with the glove.
tough save for Blue as the defenseman was perfectly positioned in front of him for a screen. Yzerman very smart in matters like that, used that defenseman very well. Blue able to see it at the last moment though, as you see Fleury about to come out of the penalty box.
Fleury getting instructions from King. King would tell him either go into the play or come right to the bench so we can replace you. It really depends on who's out there on the ice for Canada at the time. Fleury steps on the ice and gets right into the action. Canada back at full strength. The Americans now, the wrist shot kicked away by McLean coming from Dahlqvist way back at the point. Canada relieving the pressure with that lob. No one saw that at all, and the Americans changing on the fly as number 2, McInnes, brings it up. The pass up on the wing, right in front is number 11, Bёrr. The Americans, with 4 players on one side of the ice, eventually spread it out and come back with O'Regan. O'Regan trying to get around 2 defensemen. Coffee takes him out of the play, and Canada, Lidster has a boomer of a shot. He lets an easy one go. That was almost deflected right in front of Blue, but Blue comes up with the save.
Well, the right idea by Doug Lidster as he came over the blue line, trying to lead the Canadian forward, breaking for the goal. Got it up in the air, and Blue was able to just catch it out of the air and hang on to it. Both teams getting a change here.
Otto likes to take a lot of time on these face-offs. He really does command a lot of attention out there, and he seems to be getting away with it. Cullen loses out. Norton spins his man around, which is Sutter, but the Canadians backhanding that, and Blue, a smart deflection by him, takes it as far as the blue line. Golfed in off the top of the boards, and that's backhanded over to Cullen. The backhand pass coming from an American player along the boards. Cullen almost got away with a shot there. Cullen this time being held by Sacco along the boards. The Canadians sorting things out in their own zone as they break down with 3 guys going forward, but there are 5 Americans back. Cullen happy to backhand that one into Sutter. Sutter taken out of the play. O'Regan gets as far as the hash marks. Cullen takes his man out. Coffee takes a shot, the rebound. That's in the net. Adams was right there. Coffee took the shot. Let's look at this again with no reaction from either team. Sutter's right there. Well, I was a bit too quick to react there. The goaltender came up with a great save. How could he have missed that? Let's look at this one again. Oh, just incredible stuff. Sutter was right there. Adams was waiting for the rebound. The score remains the same. 4-3 for Canada. Stevens now with the long shot. A good save by McLean. And the Canadians so close at one end, and right away the Americans come right back on the attack. Well, Sutter will be thinking about that one for a long time as that goes in offside.
Great end-to-end action as Stevens there getting back up off the ice, came down the left wing. McLean, who hasn't been tested in the last 3 or 4 minutes very strongly, made a good pad save to keep that puck out. Ron Sutter still shaking his head about missing that goal at the other end off the Paul Coffey slap shot. Sutter doesn't miss many opportunities like that, as Blue thought it was his birthday there for a minute as he found the puck in his glove on the backhand rebound.
Well, even I was fooled. Yzerman getting it back. Michel Petit on the defense there, wearing number 24. Yzerman tries to move it through Ranham's skate. It just doesn't come off, and Green goes back for it. Challenging is Mark Johnson. Green presses his man along the boards and says, hey, how about some help? Michel Petit tries to get that one forward, and that's intercepted. The long shot handled by McLean and Green to Petit. Not a really good pass as Petit holds his man, and Tokket comes in and bounces it off the boards, looking for a change. The Canadians changing on the fly as they struggle to get out of their own zone. Deep in Canadian territory once again, but a lot of time to move, and the Canadians now back over the blue line. Pushed through Gilmore. Blue, that takes a deflection. Some good forechecking there by the Canadians, but the puck pushed all the way out to center ice and then batted back in again. The Americans looking to set up Kevin Stevens as he went over the blue line, but the pass just didn't make it. Fleury over to the far side. McInnes. Sean Byrr just hammers it off the woodwork. And neither team really settling down here during this spell. McInnes fires it all the way back in. Left nicely, and the Canadians now. Norton challenges, pushes his man back. Gilmore turns the shot, the rebound. This time it's in the net. Adams, number 8, position right where he should be, right in front of the net. Coffee got the shot coming in from the point. Fleury was there too. 5-3. Let's look at this on the slow-mo.
Well, it's almost the same play as last time. Coffee with the big shot from the point. It's a left-hand shot. This time not a right-hand shot on that rebound. Adams is on the left shot, and he puts a little trickler behind the goalie. As you see Fleury buzzing around there as well. Once again, the puck goes back to Coffee at the point. He lets one fly. The puck comes back out in front of the goal. There's Greg Adams right there on the rebound.
The Canadians celebrate, but I have a feeling this one is far from over. If USA have anything to say about it, they've played well throughout, and they're not going to give up without a fight here in the third period. A lot of pressure being applied by the Canadians as that one goes up to Sacco. He loses it in his skate. Adams gives him the elbow, and Sacco wins the challenge eventually. Pushed along to O'Regan. Cullen comes up with it. The whistle is a delayed one. There's confirmation of the score, 5-3 with Canada over the USA. 13:51 gone in the third period. A lot of talk out there, and let's hope they keep it at just talk. It would be a shame to spoil this game with a senseless fight. Well, they're trying to do the wave. Is it the Mexican wave? What is it now? I think every country, every city in the world has had a wave at one time or another.
Well, it's gone from Seattle to Switzerland, so I don't know. The crowd trying to create a little action there as Adams didn't like the way he was manhandled as he was going for that pass.
Critch coming right in on goal. Poke check there by McLean. Pushed into the corner. The puck is still loose. The Americans with a chance and taken out of the play, and back come the Canadians 3-on-2. Critch trying to get back into the play. Tokket spun around and take it out, and the Americans now back on the attack.
Good back checking from Fritz to get back into that play.
Brown happy just to flip that in the corner. Green comes to the rescue. Pushes that one off the woodwork. Tokket roughing it up, muscles his way at the top of the circle along the boards in front of the Canadians bench and calls for a face-off.
Well, as time is winding down here, another quick change by both teams. A look at Fritsch there, who did a great job of back checking on that 3-on-2 to get back and make the third man.
Shot there of Ken Reggett, backup goaltender wearing number 30, played with Toronto and Philadelphia. That goes back as far as Dahlqvist. McLean makes no mistake. Started out a bit shaky, Richard, but he really has come back with a couple of key saves.
Well, he settled down after a couple of bad bounces for him off those end boards. He hasn't quite been caught out of the goal here lately, and he's doing a good job now.
Again, we see Otto surveying the situation as Lecheshin picks it up. Lecheshin to Fleury. Fleury, the long pass. The offside intended for Sean Byrr. Looking for that quick break, possibly number 6.
Well, once you get a 2-goal cushion like that, it's a good move to try and open things up a little bit and have fun out there and try and get breakaways if possible.
Miller in the face-off where USA loses that one. That shot way wide of the target. Picked up by, well, at least he gets a stick on it, Miller, but can't clear it out of the zone. Stevens. Gilmore gets it back to the defense. Going into the final 5 minutes here in this game, the Americans will have to start putting on the pressure, get some shots on goal. MacInnis gets it over. The Canadians now working back. They score again. Shaw Byrr. Number 11 makes it 6. Fleury and Gilmore, the Calgary combination, set that one up. And Fleury is red hot.
Well, great work from Doug Gilmore as he really makes a nice pass to Fleury, who dumps it immediately off to Sean Byrr. Sean Byrr catches Blue coming across from the other side and gets it over him for a really nice goal. There you see Doug Gilmore winding his way through. He dumps it off for Fleury, who's definitely got the heads-up pass there as he leads Byrr. Byrr manages to one-time it up and over Blue for a really nice goal. Fleury is hot, as you mentioned. A goal and 3 assists for him out there.
Well, not a bad performance when you consider that he's just stepped off a plane. Almost a breakaway there by Miller. So the Americans now trailing by 3, 6-3 is the score. They've got a lot of work to do. Sacco curves into the center ice zone and wants it. Pass, a bit of a giveaway, and the Canadians just shoot it back in again. Up on the wing, this time O'Regan gets it on the left wing, drops it back. No one there at all but Coffey. Coffey has got Yzerman. Yzerman takes the shot, and that ended up in the neutral zone. The Canadians still dangerous even though they lead by 3. Norton lost sight of that for a moment, regained his composure and put it up now. The Americans with Otto dropping it back. The shot took a deflection. Reynolds got a piece of it, but that hit a skate. Sutter gets it over. Working right in on goal. Oh, and a great check. The goaltender is down. It looks like he's hurt. Play still hasn't been whistled down. The Canadians working their way in front of the net, and eventually the whistle blows. Blue is down, face down on the ice. He really did come out there, Richard, made the good poke check, and then took a severe blow. Let's watch this again.
Well, it was a great pass in the slot here over to Greg Adams, and as he tries to put the backhand move around, Blue comes out at him. He gets a good piece of Sean Byrr. Rather, Greg Adams that was on that play. Blue went down heavily. There you see Blue getting his composure here. It's a great pass as Greg Adams got behind the defense. Blue did well just to come out and get a piece of him, but he got the worst of that one. He gets a nice hand from the crowd here as he's back on his feet. The Canadians have really opened this game up. 6-3 lead for the Canadians as time is winding down here. The Americans have got it all to do now to try and get back into this one.
So a lot of work for the Americans. Can they do it? Ranheim over the blue line. Ranheim working his way in, takes a shot. That goes behind the net. Pushed out by Sutter. The drop pass back to Michel Petit. That's a skate save by Blue. Sutter now Lesheshin trying to do the wraparound. Sutter, again, you see a Canadian behind the net, controlling, dominating the play here. Sutter kicks it along the boards. A lot of action, a lot of physical work off the play. Neither team giving up here in the dying stages of this game. Mishel Petit fired that over to the far side, and the Canadians want to take that forward. Acton for Canada, looking for that long pass. A bouncing, bobbling puck to Bёrr. Went over his stick and is cleared away by the Americans. USA now with Dahlqvist losing control. It's still there in the slot area. And the crowd, in particular the Canadians, starting to sing the victory chant. 2 minutes to go in the game. Dahlqvist getting that forward, intercepted nicely by Bёrr. Dropping it back. The Canadians work out as a unit. MacInnis, Fleury, oh, a nice little move by him. So quick to react on those skates as he's brought down by Stevens. Bёrr gets it over to the far side, and the Canadians keeping the pressure on. Bёrr takes a shot. Almost a change-up if you think of it in baseball terms, but Blue made the save. Fleury. Johnson loses out. Trying to get that right in front, and again another check by the goaltender as Bёrr was robbed from right in close. Cole pushes that into the corner. Well, I would have thought he would have liked to taken a shot on that. MacInnis comes up. Time ticking away here in the game. 1 minute now.
Both teams trying to keep fresh players out there as the action continues down the boards.
Number 12, Galliani getting it into the center ice zone. The Americans taking a shot. Oh, and a good save there from McLean. He comes up with a glove hand save. And he really has gained in confidence as this game has gone on.
Well, since about the midway point of this final period, he hasn't had a lot of action. And there you see the shot going through. A good glove save. It quite possibly would have been wide, but he makes it look good anyways, and the crowd appreciates it.
And he knows what happens to pucks that go wide of the net. Sometimes they come right back and get put in the net. So taking no chances out there. McLean grabbing onto everything. Kept in by Fritsch. Fritsch takes a slap shot. Batted down. The goaltender is down, but the Canadians with 3 men back into the slot area give it up to Tokket. Tokket to Yzerman. Norton watches that go by, and the Americans just shoot it along the boards down the ice. Coffey will touch it for the icing call.
Well, the Canadian victory is in hand here now.
The Americans started things off with Cole getting that unusual goal that bounced off the boards. Tokket put one in that bounced over just about everybody. Johnson, Miller for America, Bёrr, Adams for Canada, and then Fleury, Adams, and Bёrr to make it 6-3. It's been a third period that the Canadians have enjoyed. The Americans were strong right up until about the midway point of the second period. Sean Bёrr, no let up, takes the shot, takes the deflection. Coffey takes the shot, and Blue comes up with another save.
Well, the Canadians look good here as they're going to pick up victory number 2 in this tournament. The Americans still trying to put their team together with more players coming in every day. We'll go 0-2 here. And my predictions of the pre-game challenge between you, Fergie, puts me behind 1-0 as well.
So you are conceding that this one is well and truly over, huh? 6-3 the score. Just a few seconds. There it goes, the final buzzer. The Canadians have won this one 6-3.
Well, a gutsy performance by both teams here as the Canadians dominated that third period and came out victors. A well-deserved victory.
Fleury played well. Adams played well. The whole Canadian team were strong. Johnson for America and Miller played well. But at the end, it was Canada 6, America 3. Well, let's take a look now at the results from day 2. Czechoslovakia over Finland 4-2. The Swedes just getting by Norway 4-3. A good effort by the Norwegians. The Soviets going against West Germany 5-2. They come out on top, and of course the game we just saw 6-3 for Canada over USA. So USA struggling at this point in the tournament.
Well, it's a young team. They've got a long way to go.
Let's take a look at the standings. Up on top, no surprises here. The Soviet Union with 4 points. Czechoslovakia there too. Canadians and the Swedes. The Finns, the West Germans, the Americans, and the Norwegians still looking for their first victories of the tournament. Well, let's take a look now at the leading scorers in the tournament. Komatov for the Soviet Union has 4 goals and an assist. Tokket, who's played really well. Nilsson for Sweden is there. Reichel, a rising star for Czechoslovakia. And Fleury, look what he's done in just one game.
Well, it didn't take him